Hello everyone. Very warm welcome to this special conversation on Tech Sharmit celebrating International Women's Day. I come from Bharat, a country where we often use the phrase Nari Shakti. In simple words, Nari Shakti means the power, strength and wisdom of women. In our culture, women are seen not just as an individual but as a creators of families, builders of communities, and leaders who shape the future. From education to science, from governance to entrepreneurship, women across the world are showing that when women rise, societies rise with them. Today's conversation is all about recognizing that power, learning from each other's experience, and understanding how together we can create a world where every woman feels safe, respected, and empowered. So, on behalf of Tech Sharmit, I warmly welcome all of you to this meaningful discussion. With that spirit of Nari Shakti, let's begin with our first question. What's the leadership lesson that only a woman can teach? To share her perspective, we have Jeannie M. Glass joining us from United States. So let's hear what Jeannie has to say about this.
What is the leadership lesson only a woman can teach? In my view, leadership is stewardship and servantship, not status, not ego, but carrying the weight of your work and decisions because they impact the people around you. Before we wrote a single line of code at Virtual Z, my first step was to establish our core values. I wanted to build a company that was anchored on the innate values of our core team. And over time, I believe those values have led us to investors, partners, and customers that share them. And I believe women understand that leadership is nurturing a team. And by that, I don't mean parenting, but nurturing a high-performing team, creating an environment for peak performance for each individual, for the team, for the department, and that leads to the success of the company. Early in my sales career, when other reps, were focused on commissions and things, I was calling companies, my customers, and asking for copies of their annual report. Back then, you had to call the company and ask for a physical copy of their annual report so I could learn their business. And I remember one day another rep looking at me saying, "Why are you ordering all those reports? No one's going to care." And I said, "I care." Because I cared about my customers and I wanted to show up prepared and professional and understanding their business in a way that I could help them. And as a manager, I've always believed that my team's success would define my success. And in my view, leadership is about creating that environment that creates the highest level of performance for each member on the team. And then as the manager, your success in your department follows from there. And if you take care of your team, they're going to take care of your customers. And from there, collective success, customer success, partner success, and your success will follow. Someone once gave me a book that 25 years later, I still keep on my credenza. It was inscribed. This was very early in my career. And it says, "Jeannie, I find you to be a woman of great integrity and one with a heart that desires to do that which is right. May you find a nugget or two in this book as you continue to walk in leadership." And the book is Leadership by the Book, and it's about servant leadership. And I think I keep it on my credenza still today because it meant so much to me to be recognized as a leader who was serving my team. So when you anchor in values first, decisions become clearer, especially when they're difficult, and teams become higher performing teams in my view and experience. So if you nurture and lead your team to their individual success, then your success will follow. So I believe that's a lesson, a leadership lesson that only women can teach. And as the first woman founder and only woman founder of a mainframe software company in the history of the mainframe, it's particularly meaningful to me to be included in this celebration of Women's History Month. Thank you for including me.
Let's move to another meaningful question. How has the definition of a strong woman changed across generations in a family? Sharing her perspective with us is Aileen Wynn, joining us from Ireland. So let's hear what Aileen has to say about this.
Hi, it's Aileen Wynn here. Amit asked, how has the definition of a strong woman changed across the generations in my family? A great question. My family is one of many strong women. I have 4 sisters, a mother, and 3 nieces. My father grew up in a family of 6 sisters, his mother, a maiden aunt, and a housekeeper. His father died when he was young. And I also work with some incredibly strong women and some great guys as well. Some people say that strong women are those that act like men and are strong and try and take on many male characteristics, but I don't think that's always the case. My great grandmother was an incredibly strong woman. She left an abusive relationship and brought her children to safety. In a time in Ireland where that was not the done thing, where a woman was meant to put up and shut up and was just chattel of her husband. She had a number of daughters, many of whom emigrated, but my grandmother stayed behind. She trained to be a teacher, decided she didn't like that, and changed to be a nurse. She graduated as a nurse in 1935. Again, an amazing achievement. But when she got married, she had to leave that job, and then she helped my grandfather run their shop. My other grandmother was a tailoress and a shopkeeper, and she lost her husband young. Again, both of those women brought up their families on top of all of the careers that they had and everything they were doing. Very strong women, slightly different times, amazing people. My mother is a phenomenal woman. She's nearly 80. She has just released her new book, Get Real. 4th book over many years. But how incredible is that? When we were very young, she stayed home. When we were older, she started going out into the world and working. She did amazing things for many, many people. She's changed thousands of lives. She's raised 4 very independent, very different women, all successful and in our own rights. I was thinking and asking my sisters about, what makes a strong woman, what do we think? And it's something that throughout the discussion we've worked out that we've all known our minds. We have very definitely known our own minds. We all have morals, principles, and convictions that we will stand up for. We'll defend ourselves and we'll defend others when needed. Times change. Social norms change. Women are strong in many, many ways. But as my youngest sister said, it all boils down to knowing your worth. We need rights, justice, and action for all women and girls. We need to give to gain. Happy International Women's Day.
Let's continue with another important question. What structural changes are still needed in workplaces to achieve real gender equality? Sharing her thoughts is Jessica Cecilia Budianto, joining us from Indonesia. Let's hear her perspective on this topic.
Hi, my name is Jessica Cecilia Budianto, and I'm software engineer at OmniHR. I am also Google developer expert for web from Indonesia. So to answer his question, just as a disclaimer, I'm not an HR, I'm a software engineer. So my answer here is more of a software engineer perspective. When we talk about inclusivity issue, just like this gender equality, there can be lots of aspects, right, why this happened. But rather than thinking that this is a personal issue, I would actually suggest that this can come from a more structural underlying issue, like, for example, trust. Because as company scales, lots of people joining in along the way, there can actually be an unpleasant experience, right? Comes from a particular group. And maybe that's why people prefer those who they are familiar with and who they know that they can control well. But just like other Gen Z, I would still suggest that this has to be voiced out, but internally, not on social media. Because, yeah, I'm really sorry, guys, but public bad mouthing, they rarely brings you good impacts. So, what I would suggest instead is more of a proper safe channel, like maybe an honest conversation with your leadership, whistleblowing channel, or any structured, safe feedback mechanism. Because despite we try to voice it internally, our voice still has to reach a bigger audience, which hopefully will also reach those in power. Because at the end of the day, if leadership or those in power they refuse to change, then I'm really sorry to say this, but maybe a transformation they can be difficult. Yeah, I mean, some of you might not agree with me. Like, yeah, that's not always the case in the history, or yeah, the transformation they can happen. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I think we still can agree, right? When I say that it's difficult, but let's say that when the leadership they agree to change, then what should they do? Maybe what I would suggest is actually granting more flexibility, but make sure that it's regulated. So when they grant it, they don't really lose control, but they redefine what they consider as control. So they should see more of the outcomes of a person rather than the presence of the person itself, and also avoid micromanaging. That way, perhaps in a company they can create a more environment that's more into responsibility and transparency. But yeah, this is easier said than done, right? This cannot be easy. And yes, just like product development, it's impossible to reach a perfect, sustainable product in a single try. So just like product development, I believe this also has to be researched along the way, redefine the actual root cause, implement the solution, test it, let ourselves receive feedback for it, improve it again, then repeat, and there goes the cycle. So later on, the problem would not be whether the change is possible, but whether you want to start it or whether you want to hold on through the process.
Our next question focuses on an important topic in today's digital world. How do we ensure women's safety in digital spaces, especially in the era of artificial intelligence? So here's what Cecil Din, joining us from United States, has to say about this.
Hi, everyone. I want to talk about women's safety in the digital space, especially now that AI is part of our daily lives. AI is powerful. It helps us create content, learn faster, and connect with people around the world. I use it in my work when preparing training, creating posts, or sharing ideas with the professional community. But like any technology, it can also be misused. We now see fake profiles, AI generated images, deepfakes, and scams that look very convincing. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real. So the real question is, how do we stay safe while still being active online? For many of us, the digital space is where we build our careers and our voices. I share knowledge online, speak at conferences, and connect with professionals globally. That visibility is a blessing, but it also requires awareness. First, be mindful about what you share. Not everything needs to be public. Personal details, travel plans, and location information should be shared carefully. For example, if I attend a conference, I post about the event and the learning experience, but I avoid sharing details that could put my safety at risk. Second, I verify before trusting. AI can generate convincing messages or fake identities. If someone reaches out claiming to represent a company or organization, take a moment to check their profile, connections, or online presence. And finally, we support each other. Women are safer when we stand together, encouraging each other, reporting harmful behavior, and amplifying positive voices can make the digital space safer for everyone.
Now let's move to our next question. What lessons can the world learn from the countries where women have risen to the highest constitutional offices? Sharing her perspective is Magda Kustos, joining us from Poland. So let's hear what she has to say about this.
Well, after a decade in HR and now managing global tech communities, I think that whether you're leading a squad of developers or an entire nation, the secret sauce is basically the same. When I look at the countries where women have stepped into the highest offices, I see that these leaders aren't just filling a seat. I believe that women are actually rewriting the leadership playbook in a way that the rest of the world is finally starting to notice. First of all, for a long time, we were told that being professional meant being distant. So I think women have proven that is nonsense. Female leaders have shown that leading with empathy and with radical transparency, especially during a crisis, isn't a weakness. It's how you build bulletproof trust. And by treating people like a community rather than just a resource, I think women have turned soft skills into the ultimate hard asset. Second of all, we talk a lot about strengths-based teams in HR, but women have taken this to a constitutional level, I think. By pioneering inclusive, consultative processes, female leaders actually listen to the feedback. They have taught us that when you stop trying to fix people and start leveraging their unique strengths, well, you don't just solve conflicts, you basically prevent them. And last but not least, I think women in leadership have flipped the script on what national success looks like. Instead of only chasing cold numbers, women have treated wage differentials, work-life balance, or even parental support as actual economic engines. Female leaders have proven that when the team feels actually supported and seen, the delivery or the national progress in that matter takes care of itself. So to put it in a nutshell, I think my personal pivot from HR to community management taught me that my people first background wasn't lost. It actually showed up to be my greatest asset. And I believe that women in the highest offices are proving the same thing on a world stage, that being people oriented isn't just a personality trait. I think it's the most effective way to lead in the 21st century. Thank you.
Alright, so now let's move to our next question. If women across the world stood together for one cause, what should it be? Sharing her thoughts on this is Anne Gretetan joining us from United States. So let's listen to her perspective.
There are so many great causes out there that need to be supported and are worthy of support. But if there's one cause that I feel is foundational to so many other things, it's equal educational opportunities for all. Higher educational attainment correlates with economic opportunity, economic growth. It correlates with life expectancy, quality of life, infant mortality, all the good things. And this is true both at the individual level and also at the country level. So if there's one cause, I hope that all the women in the world can agree on and can get behind. It would be equal educational opportunity for our children, our grandchildren, our nephews, our nieces, our godchildren, our friends' children, the children on the street, and of course, I mean truly for all children, not only for girls, but historically, let's not forget that girls have been neglected, and so this is maybe an area where we might want to pay a little bit of extra attention. Happy International Women's Day.
So now let's continue our conversation with another thoughtful question. How can women support other women in leadership roles instead of competing with them? Sharing her insight is Asma Mirabet, joining us from Algeria. Let's listen to her perspective.
Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. I am Asma Mrabot, an AI researcher from Algeria. When talking about leadership, for me, supporting women in leadership starts from a very simple mindset shift, which is moving from competitions to collaboration. Too often, women are placed into environments where it feels like there is a space for only of us at the same table. But the truth is that leadership grows stronger when we can create more seats instead of be competitors for the same seats. Also, supporting women can be at practical ways. It can be when we do monitoring for younger women, when we share more opportunities, and also when we share the knowledge, when we recommend other women for a specific role, and for sure when we acknowledge and when we celebrate each woman's achievements. Because the collaboration and the supporting can create a culture when women can push themselves for more. And also, in my journey in the AI and the technology, I have realized how powerful it is when women support each other. So let's support each other, let's be collaborators instead of competitors, and happy Women's Day for every one of you.
Now, let's move to the another inspiring question. What is the dream for the next generation of girls being born today? Sharing her vision with us is Amber Bell, joining us from the United States. So let's hear what Amber has to say about this.
Hello, my name is Amber Bell. I am a Microsoft MVP and I've owned my own business in the Microsoft space for about 10 years and 1 month. I'm really excited to share my dream for the next generation of women that are either just little now, maybe still in school, or that are being born, just for what's coming. We see how quickly that technology and all of these things are changing, but there are so many opportunities. But at the heart of it, for me, what has made me successful and made it rewarding is no matter what they choose, whatever you choose, in whatever kind of career you do, really for me, the focus is the people that we meet and that we can help. When we help other people, we get the opportunity to really grow. And then when we need somebody, we have somebody we can lean on. So I think there's so much that we don't know. Like, I don't know what technology will be like in 2 weeks, let alone by the time you all get to school and then to work and then to building whatever it is you want to do for the long term. But you can start this anytime in your life. It's just build good relationships, stay curious, try different things. I focused my entire career on learning and training and fixing problems and all of those things you can do in any kind of industry. And it's so rewarding when you get that opportunity. So if you have the opportunity to learn and just ask a lot of questions, whatever it is you need to do to grow, you're going to have that opportunity in whatever you choose. Because honestly, by the time if you're being born literally today, it'll be 2026, let's say 2050 when you're getting into work. I mean, who knows what life will be like and what we're going to have. But honestly, at the end of the day, forever, there's always been people who need other people to help them and people that enjoy helping others. And if you can do that, you're going to have a great time. I think there's so much more support we get nowadays, the opportunities in all the different industries. So I can tell you all about my life here in tech, but I'm excited to see all that you guys do and excited to be able to help the women that are in tech that are starting out now, and then all of you who might be just being born. Looking forward to seeing you guys when you get older. But so much we can all do for each other, and it's such an exciting time to really be alive and to be part of just a time of a lot of change. So hope you all If anybody sees this in the future, hi from 2026. Have a great day, and I'll see you around.
So now let's move to another thoughtful question. What is one universal truth that connects women from every corner of the world? Sharing her perspective with us is Brooke Avery, joining us from United States. So let's hear what Brooke has to say about this.
Hello, everybody. I just want to, first of all, thank Amit for this opportunity to be able to participate in this really cool little video. For those of you who don't know, my name is Brooke Avery. I am an Angular GDE, the director of the Angular Community Meetup, and a co-producer, co-host of the Dev Life podcast. But yeah, just super thrilled to be part of this opportunity. So when Amit first reached out, he posed the question, what is one universal truth that connects women from every corner of the world? And, when I first heard this question about a universal truth, I wasn't sure that I could come up with just one thing. I've lived in different parts of the world. I've traveled around. I've interviewed different women for my podcast, and one thing has really become clear, and that is that there are no two women who are exactly alike. I think every woman brings different gifts and perspectives and ways of just moving through the world. So what could possibly be one universal truth that I could share that kind of covers everyone? Now, a lot of you probably don't know this. Some of you may, but one of my nicknames is Storybrooke. So when I was thinking of how I would answer this, I wanted to share a story. I think there's a tremendous power in storytelling. So I was coming up with, what story would be good here. And my thoughts came across a software engineer named Margaret Hamilton. She led a team that wrote the onboard flight software for the Apollo missions. And it was during one of the moon landings that an astronaut accidentally started a program that began overloading their tiny computer. But because Margaret's team had designed for failure and thought through those edge cases, the software dropped those non-critical tasks and kept the landing sequence running for them. So they made it to the surface, really, because of the work that most people watching or tracking that mission never saw or ever understood. Now, since most of us here are in the tech space or are software engineers ourselves, I think of it like this. Each of us is like a code base, and we have different architectures and tech stacks, some legacy bugs, and a few scrappy wild hacks that keep us running when we probably shouldn't have compiled at all. But there's a kind of shared core library I see in women everywhere. That's resilience, it's creativity under constraints, and this beautiful instinct to kind of refactor chaos into something that works for the people around us. And just like in a repository, you don't see all the commits that got squashed or the late night debugging sessions. You just see that latest release, the latest product or version available for use. The universal truth about women, and really I think about all of us, is that there's a ton of invisible work and invisible courage behind the version that you see in production, right? So while the question is about women, what I hope everyone hears, women, men, non-binary folk, is this: that your story matters, that you matter. Your commits count, the way you quietly keep systems, your teams, your families, your products running. It's not small. It's the shared code that holds us all together. So if there's one universal truth I'd name, it's that people everywhere are doing far more invisible, mission critical work than we give them credit for, and sometimes than we even realize. And the more we notice it in each other, call it out, and make room for it, the better the whole system runs. So whether it's Women's Day or just an ordinary day, who are the women and the people in your life that you can take just a few minutes or seconds, really, it doesn't take long, to recognize, to thank, and to let them know how much they mean to you. So hopefully you can take that challenge. Be sure to thank the people in your life who make a difference and who help you feel heard. And that, I think, is the universal truth that connects women from every corner of the world.
Let's move to the another important question. What advice should we give to women who hesitate to step into leadership? Sharing her perspective is Sarah Julia Kriech, who is joining us from Germany. Let's hear what Sarah has to say about this.
How you can take over responsibility for others, and how you can grow into a leadership role. I can recommend as a first step, take over responsibility for yourself and what you are doing. Show others and your team lead that you have got the correct qualification and you want to grow in your area. If you show others how your code is working or how this administration is going on, you can become a mentor or also a supervisor in this area. On this way, you can grow into the technical leadership area. Create also your network within the company and outside of the company. Go to company events and speak with leaderships and others. On this way, you become a little bit more well known and they recognize you as a potential leader. I did that also in the open source community at OpenSUSE. I went to conferences, created my network to distinguished engineers, software engineers, and the release managers, and then I was elected and nominated as a board member. Leadership is also something with learning. You can receive also your own mentors with leadership experience at such conferences who are supporting you on this way. But raising your hand if you want to take over responsibility is also important. In my case, one example was a cyber incident in the community, and I said I want to take over the responsibility and found a sysadmin team. On this way, I was also allowed to create this team. Or at the Open Mainframe project, I wanted to create the Linux distribution working group. I had already the network to the different Linux distributions. And on this way, via all the conferences and the discussions, they had already trust to me that I would be the correct leader. You can see it is a little bit with taking over responsibility and networking all. You can do the same. We have got less leaders in the community, and if you want to take over responsibility, you can become a leader.
Now, last but certainly not least, it's time to hear from the daughter of Bharat itself. How do working women contribute to their communities beyond just their office work? Sharing her perspective with us is Deepti Goguri, joining us from Bharat. Let's hear what Deepti has to say about this.
Hello everyone, my name is Deepti Goguri. I'm a database administrator as well as a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. As a woman working in IT, our contributions extends far beyond the work we do inside our organization. Through blogging, speaking at the conferences, organizing user groups, and supporting technical events, we actively shape and strengthen the broader tech community. When we share the knowledge, simplify the complex topics, and create welcoming spaces for learning, we help build a more inclusive and collaborative ecosystem. Technology grows faster and stronger when communities grow with it. In my personal journey, community work has been an incredibly meaningful opportunity for me. I have had the privilege of mentoring both men and women and helping them step onto the stage for the first time as a speaker. Seeing someone move from the self-doubt to confidently sharing their expertise is so powerful and it creates a ripple effect. When one woman speaks, she inspires many others to believe that they can too. I truly believe we can motivate and uplift other women by sharing our stories, offering the guidance, and creating the opportunities for them to lead. My suggestion to the other women in tech is simple. Start small, share whatever you can, what you know, volunteer, mentor, and don't wait to feel ready because you will never feel that you are ready. Your voice matters, and when you use it, it opens doors not just for yourself but for many others. Thank you so much, Amit, for giving me this great opportunity.
Now, as we come to the end of this special conversation celebrating International Women's Day, I would like to sincerely thank all the incredible women who shared their thoughts and experience with us today. Your insights remind us that women's empowerment is not limited to one country, one culture, or one profession. It is a movement that connects women across the world. And while we heard powerful voices from our amazing guest, this conversation is not only about them, it is about every woman across the globe. The mothers, daughters, sisters, leaders, creators, and dreamers who shape our societies every single day. From Bharat, we often use the phrase Nari Shakti, which represents the strength, resilience, and wisdom of women. And before we close, I would like to share that on Tech Sharmit, we believe empowerment also comes through learning and opportunities. So we have put together a free 3,400 plus learning resources for anyone who wants to grow their skills, explore technology, and build their confidence in the digital world. If that interests you, you can find them in the description because when knowledge becomes accessible, empowerment becomes possible. And now I would love to hear from you in the comments. Share one thought, message, or experience about women's empowerment that inspires you. Your voice could encourage someone somewhere in the world. Thank you for being a part of this conversation, and once again, happy International Women's Day.